start with a mind-reading slot. And so I called Derren up. I'm under a comment, I'm in productions, I'd like to make a TV show with you, maybe let's meet and talk. And he was not at all excited or interested. Well, all right, yeah, OK, maybe I'm in London next week, let's meet up.
I'm going to ask you to think of one of 5 cards. One of these. Ready? 1.
The very first trick he showed me face to face. It's one of my favourite things that personifies what he does brilliantly. And he did that trick for Stephen Fry many years later on television.
Thank you so much.
He spread a pack of cards on the table, face up, and said, just look at one of those cards and think of it.
And in your mind, not out loud, obviously, just repeat that card to yourself over and over again. Just over and over again, like King of Diamonds, King of Diamonds, King of Diamonds.
Shut up!
Was that it?
Fuck off!
And I felt like the ground had opened up and swallowed me.
There's a rather extreme reaction with that.
And I had no idea how he did it.
It's a little more difficult than I thought. Do you know why?
Why is it?
Well, there isn't a King of Diamonds in there.
No, there was.
And he spread the deck again, and the card had vanished.
King of Hearts.
Oh!
Excuse me. Your card there, the King of Diamonds. Thank you, Stephen.
I just want to burn him at a stake and watch his witch's heart bubble. It's extraordinary. Great trick.
The shift from being a close-up magician in Bristol doing hypnosis shows to being a television magician is a massive shift, but Derren took to it like a duck to water. Initially, we made a series of 3 specials and a television series called Mind Control.
Sorry, what was the stop you were getting off at? Look at me, what was the stop you were getting off at?
The idea was that, you know, it's magic psychology, it's suggestion, it had a broader range. Does hypnosis exist? Does suggestion exist? And so it was more appealing because it's not just, oh, it's a trick, that's the end of the discussion, it's what is that guy doing?
Just trying to find it at the moment.
Look, you got it. What is it?
Warren Street.
Warren Street, very good.
I suppose Uri Geller was the start for me. No one had really captured the imagination of the power of the mind or psychology since Geller. So it was trying to make magic relevant and intelligent.
So number 6 has not won.
No, it hasn't won.
So you shouldn't get anything on this at all.
No, it's worthless.
I think from day one, they were what we'd call in TV water cooler moments that people would be talking about the following day. One of the classic things that people remember from the early days was being able to win money on losing bets.
This is the dog you're looking for. That's why we came to this window.
There was no through line as we moved on to with some of the later specials. It was Derren himself that wanted to move on, and he's managed to find items that had sustained an hour and a half on TV that have all led up to a tremendous finale.
The premise behind Russian Roulette's really simple. For Derren, it's a 1 in 6 chance. It's a bullet, it's a gun, it's live television.
Are you happy with that? And
Russian Roulette is the show that made Derren into a big UK star because everybody in the country was talking about it.
Thank you. I'm going to bring the armourer over. This is the revolver from Russian Roulette. The shield there that was put on the gun to make sure I couldn't see into the chambers. And it's all mounted on the sandbag with the bullet holes. It was a very terrifying day. There are 2 things you don't see on the programme when you watch it. One, that my leg is just doing this under the table constantly. And of course also there's, you know, the ambulances and everything.
Select a round. Stand it there.
I was the guy who had to put the bullet in the chamber of the gun and then pass it over to Derren to play Russian Roulette with. You're in a barn, it's dark, there's a guy with a loaded gun to his head. It's hard to detach yourself. It felt pretty nerve-wracking.
How did your mum feel about it?
I did ring her up and say, look, it'll be fine, I know what I'm doing, please, you know, don't Of course, no, of course, don't be silly, dear. That was the response.
The Russian roulette absolutely terrified me.
Number 3, I feel, is safe.
I was almost sitting, you know, behind the couch. I had cooked a meal for Bob and I and sat down to eat it, and there is no way. He ate his dinner, but I couldn't eat a thing. It was such a dangerous thing to do.
Number 5.
It didn't seem like it was going right, and there'd never been such a palpable, most brilliant 45 seconds of television as when he was deciding what to do.
He hesitated for a long time, and I thought, he's not going to do this. He's not going to do it. He rang me about 10 minutes later and said, "What did you think?" And I said, "Don't ever do anything so dangerous again."
Was there controversy in kind of this is sort of Channel 4 sinking to a new low?
There was controversy. The idea was that the stunt was even happening, which was great because that was sort of what we were hoping for. And then there was the disappointment that I hadn't actually blown my brains out. There was like, what have we just been watching kind of reaction, which I've sort of had since as well on other things. Yeah. It's an odd one, but
and that meant that you could do some really top drawer restaurants.
Yeah, some of the nicer restaurants in London.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down and thinking, oh my goodness, we've done an amazing 60 minutes of television. How could we possibly follow that?
We welcome Jane into the room, just allowing that presence to be here. I had no idea that their reactions were going to be as extreme. The 13 of us welcome you here. The Seance show was my second special after the Russian roulette. It was famously the most complained about show in TV history, I think.
Jane, move the ball to let us know that you are here.
Okay, all right. Okay. The idea was that we'd get 12 students in what purported to be a derelict scene of a terrible group suicide. The point of it was to see whether fraudulent Victorian techniques would work on a modern audience, and quite satisfyingly, as it turned out, they did. And it explains a lot of these things that went on. So earlier in the seance program, I'd used this thing called the spirit cabinet, which is one of my favourite mediumistic props. It's just feels to me like great theatre, and so many kind of bizarre things happen. Do you want to go?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. How'd you go? And it was through performing that I got to know Ian Sharkey.
This is my first year of university, and I got asked to be on the seance, which was like a really clever ghost train. It really felt that at the time.
Hang on.
What you see, I mean, that was genuine. That's a genuine emotional response from me, and was genuine fear.
You've broken it. What happened? I don't know. I just needed to get out. I don't feel right. That's really weird. Talk me through it.
I remember really feeling, I have to know how he does that. I've just got to know.
Ian was studying creative writing, so I said to him, do you want to come and write on the show?
Yeah.
And that was it. We became great friends, and now he's my creative other half.
Wow.
So sit facing that way.
Is it this way?
Yeah. Yeah, got the old Ouija board out today. We are going to run through some really early ideas. I hold the pointer around the other way so it taps. I think the tapping will be. Sometimes we just like to kind of try these half ideas on their feet and see what they kind of look like. So that's our fun job for today. Is this creepy with the real automaton? Well, when Will Everton with the cup. I don't even know what that means.
I think the one thing that really hits you about Derren is his sense of humour. You know, it's when you're working with him, there are days when we're crying with laughter, and then from that, these weird ideas will come. But it's like that every single day, you know.
Put the mask on and slip your top off. We'll carry on. When it comes to actually writing the TV shows, there'll be a 2-week slot. We've got to come up with ideas. We need 2 ideas for specials. Okay, so at that point, that's the only chance you get to think.
The writing process with Derren is really interesting. You have to start with the end, so you've got to start with the final stunt and then work backwards to a logical beginning.
The heist is probably a good example of this sort of writing process, that you work backwards. So if you missed the start of the show, this is Gresham Street in the City of London. The Bank of England is just down there. We have a fake security van, a fake security guard, and £100,000 of real money. The heist had come out of an idea whereby I might use my skills to rob a bank, and it just felt like, wouldn't it be more interesting to have somebody else do it?
The whole point of heist is how do you get good people to do terrible things, like an armed robbery.
Target is inside. Target is in zone 1.
Everything from day one right to the final stunt has to be massively stage managed. You know, every tiny nuance has to be thought out.
And cue car.
So the car goes past with the music blaring, and there's the colour green and the "Do It" slogan on the poster, and all the triggers create what could be a potentially criminal urge. It was really, really exciting.
Excuse me, mate. Put down. Tell you what, mate. You try anything, and you're dead, all right? If you've got family, mate, if you move, I swear to God, you're dead, mate.
So it's a very interesting and quite difficult writing process to create a drama for somebody who maybe doesn't even know that they're part of it.
All right, yeah, come with me.
I've always painted portraits really since I was very small. I kind of started really with caricatures, and over the last couple of years I've sort of moved into a more serious sort of approach. And I love it. It's sort of my big hobby. Especially when the job you do is essentially quite a public thing, it's quite nice to have something that balances that at home. You know, it's a treat. It's really nice sometimes to be able to use the paintings in the magic, and there was the trick with Simon Callow and his portrait. That was fun. Anything you want.
Everybody, from Judi Dench downwards, just said, "You must do this. This is just the most exciting thing that will ever have happened to you in your life."
So it's a word that I'm thinking of, which I'm going to try and send to you. It is 4 letters long.
He asked me to think of a letter, and I thought of R. And then he asked me to think of a word, and I thought of road.
Road. R-O-A-D.
Yes. And he said, "Come over here, please." And he told me to look at the eyes, and I looked into the eyes, and there, in the whites of one of the eyes, was written the word.
That's extraordinary.
Road. That's amazing.
So these are more recent ones. It's Rufus Wainwright. You a fan, or do you know him?
Yeah, I know him. I'm not a fan, but I know who he is. I like her voice when she used to sing A Fine Romance on the
Did she
sitcom.
sing it?
Yeah.
Might as well pay bridge without maiden on.
It's amazing, that. I love the way that the focus is sharper in some parts of the picture than others. Almost like a photograph. Yeah.
You just tilt slightly towards me, just
Yeah.
just a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. I met Uri Geller once.
Did you?
Twice, actually.
He can't not bend spoons for people. He seems.
No, he bent the spoon. I've got a bent spoon that's signed. What I like about him is he says, "I would do it, but it makes me very tired. It really makes me very tired because I use a lot of mental energy."
Which it, yes, I'm sure it does. How long ago was it that you were on the show? It was
5 years ago, maybe.
I asked you immediately afterwards how the trick was done, and you looked me right in the eye and you